In this video, I'm going to show you how to do steps 12 and 13, which is making a scatter graph and putting a best fit line and then screenshotting that into your Google Doc. Okay, so let's just take a look at this. This is where we are, right? I'm going to get this out of the way. Hello. Which, of course, messes all that stuff up, right? And what I want to do is just select all my data here. I just want to get at that. So. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, on the lower left, there's an add a sheet. Okay, I'm going to add a sheet. I'm going to call it velocity. Right, and then I'm going to paste, I'm going to paste the wrong thing in there. Okay. I'm going to copy that and then paste. Say, oh, there it is, right? Now, you don't have to do this, but I think it's easier to deal with this if you put the velocity right next to the time. So I'm going to take this, and then I've selected just those. If you grab that, we can move this over one. And now I'm going to take just the velocity. I'm going to move that next to the time. So remember, when it's selected, you want to get that little hand icon like that. Okay. So now I've got the velocity next to the time, and I can go in and do a select that, right? So select all of that. Don't forget to go to the top of your data and say insert a chart. And this chart really is not very good. Okay. So what I want to do is not a line chart, but go in here and tell it that you want to scroll all the way down. And that doesn't look like the right kind of chart, but that's what you want. Okay, that's what you want. So go down there, scroll down, and you want to choose the scatter chart. Okay, that's our friend. Okay, and then I'm going to make that bigger. I don't have a very big screen here, so I'm going to make this look nice and big like that. Now, the first thing I want to do is fix this and make good grid lines for this. I think we want, let's just see what happens, okay? Okay, let's see. First off, my title, nobody puts units in a title, so let's get rid of those units. Okay. Sorry, that's just my OCD here. Then let's go to the horizontal axis. And again, we don't have a line on the right side here. So if I go 0 and 6, it will do that. Now, if your time goes beyond 6, let's say it's, the last time is like 6.3, then make that right side 7. Okay, just make it so that there is an axis there, right? That's the horizontal axis. And then the vertical axis, I think we're good. I always tell it what to do. So even though it's choosing 0 and 0.5, I don't want it later to choose something else. So those are good. Okay, now we're going to go into grid lines. And I'm going to do my horizontal axis first. Major spacing. There's two things. There's count and step. You always want to do step. Count is counterintuitive, right? And I want it to go by ones. I'm traditional, And then minor spacings, type, choose step again, and then I think 0.1. Is that going to be too much? No, I think that's good. Okay, now go up here and choose the horizontal axis. Now choose the vertical axis. And the step, and these are our big grid lines, right? 0.1 is good. Just like it's doing, right? That didn't change anything, but I always tell it what to do. Because sometimes you'll get it all set up, and it'll then just change it, and then here's step type. Let's try 0.01. See what that looks like. Ooh, no, I like that. That's good. There we go. So basically, we have a place, and then we have tenths of a place. I think we're good. I think that's going to be really nice. All right, you guys ready for this? Okay. So now what I want to do is I actually want to put a line through these points here. Now I know that you could go into the software and tell it to put a trend line on there. But sometimes you have to be able to do a best fit line yourself. I've seen this on tests, and you might get it in college. So that's what we're doing here. That's why I'm not using the trend line in series. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my own trend line on here. So sort of picture this graph, and now we're going to go insert a drawing. And now the problem is we can't really, anyway, we can't, if we paid the money for Excel, we could draw it and see the graph behind it. But now I'm just sort of guessing what that thing is. But I saw it before, so it's going to be a really good guess. There we go. But only it puts it over there, right? It's like, oh, there we go. Okay. Notice I didn't draw my line big enough. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to go insert a drawing again. And this time I'm going to draw it nice and long. Because I want it to sort of stick over the sides of the graph. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Now, I don't quite have it yet, right? It doesn't look like, that doesn't look like the right line. So what am I going to do? I'm going to bring it down a little bit here. Now, once you get it on there, it's sort of like putting, if you grill, it's like putting meat on a skewer. You just kind of want them. Yeah, there we go. That looks good, doesn't it? Something like that. The points fall equally on either side, sort of a thing. Okay? So there we go. Now we're set, right? Now I wish we could just copy this whole thing into our Google Doc, but if you do that, Google Docs and Canvas will launch your diagram and put that line behind. We don't want that, right? So what I'm going to do now is we're going to do a screenshot. Okay? Now to do a screenshot, if you're using your Chromebook, you're going to hold the Control and Shift key down, then hit the screenshot button. Really, it's Control Shift, and then press and release the screenshot button. Now, what's the screenshot button? It's that button above the 6. It's got a rectangle and 2 vertical lines to the right of it. Okay, that's the screenshot button. Now, if you're on a Mac, you're going to do Control Shift Command 4, which is, I'm on a Mac, so you'll see that, what that does. If you're on a PC, if you're running Windows 10, let's just say, it's Shift Windows S, right? And it's literally hold Shift Windows, press and release the S key for screenshot, right? Okay, are we ready for this? There it is. Okay, that's what I want to put in my document. So I'm on a Mac, so I'm doing Shift Control Command 4. And now look at my cursor, like it gives me the pixel location, right? There's 0, 0 up there. Okay, sorry. I'm just geeking out here. And now I select this. And it does that's why we paid so much money for a Mac, right? Because it makes that shutter sound. It's very authentic. Okay, and then I'm going to go in here. I'm going to put that in my velocity versus time graph. So just select that text, delete it, and now I'm doing paste. You're going to do Control V. I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to do Command V. Okay, so now we've got it. We've put the graph in there. Right, and now we want to find these coordinates. Well, my lower left coordinates are 0, 0, 0.0, and 0.0, right? That's this coordinate right there, right? There. Okay, and now we want to figure out the upper right, okay? Well, that's this point right there, right? Here, okay, and that is 6 over whatever this right side of your graph is, right? Yours might be different, so 6.0, and then how high up is that? Well, let's see. That is 0.4 meters per second. That's 0.41. To me, it looks higher than 0.41, right? But it's not 0.42. I'm going to say 0.412. 0.412. Okay. I know that's a little bit ridiculous. Should I just say 0.41? I'm just going to say 0.41. It does look a little higher than that. We can, always estimate that, right? So now we're going to find the slope, and that m is just for the slope, right? This is x2 and y2, x1, y1, right? And this really is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So my y, whoops, hello. That guy. It looks like I'm doing both, but I'm really doing the top, is 0.41 minus 0.0. So take this guy minus this guy, right? This guy minus this guy. Okay, and then I'm going to go, my x2 is 6. And my x1 is 0.0. Okay, which ends up being just 0.41 divided by 6, right? Okay. And that ends up being 0.068333333. And then that is meters per second, which is not a huge acceleration. It's a very subtle acceleration. Okay. Did we do that right? I think we did, right? And then it says, answer these 2 questions here. Okay. Is it the shape you predicted in step 2? So in step 2, you drew a picture of what you thought the velocity graph was. Did you draw a straight line just like this? Did you draw a curve? Which way did it curve? Okay, just compare. Just say, my drawing was this, and the graph actually is this, right? And then is your line more curved? We're talking about this thing, the actual thing here, right? Or is it maybe just straight with some experimental error, right? The slope is the acceleration of the glider. Okay. So you would just look at your graph. If your points tend to look like a curve, mine look pretty linear. I'd say that this straight line is representing what those points really are. Okay, but I just don't know what your data is going to look like. So talk about that. Okay. Is that it? I think we've done everything. Yeah, that's it.